Yeah, we're excited about our next two guests and the subject. We're going to continue to talk about private exchanges and the consumerism. And, joining us on this program are, two of the, thought leaders in this space and two of the friends of the IHC and co-chairs of our private exchange forum. I have on the line right now Ernie Harris, Executive Vice President with Exchanges at Maestro Health, and John Young, who's President of Consumerdriven and one of the leading thought leaders on consumerism. He's former Senior VP of Consumerism. John and Ernie, welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Nice to have you guys on here.
Well, hey, great to hear your voice.
Yeah, nice to hear you. And I'll see you soon, right, in Phoenix.
Yeah, we will see each other all soon.
Ernie, why don't you give our audience, before we get into kind of this discussion, give our audience a little background on Maestro Health and what you guys are doing in the space.
Thanks a lot, Doug. I'm happy to do that, and pleasure to be here again on your show. Maestro Health is an organization that was formed several years ago for the Post-Affordable Care Act benefits world. And what we mean by that is we're really trying to converge or combine service and technology. So there's a lot of players in the space that offer technology solutions. There's a lot that offer service bolt-ons. But what we felt was really important was if we were really going to bend the cost curve, if we were really going to help drive consumerism and control costs both for employers and employees, we needed to be able to combine things like medical TPA services, private exchange, enrollment platforms, and call center support under one roof. And that's really what we're all about.
That's excellent. And John, give our audience a little background on what you're doing across this space.
It's pretty straightforward and simple. I just want to change the world, and in our little niche of healthcare, I believe that's getting every soul in an account-based plan, whether it's an HRA or an HSA, and getting them, empowering them with information and incentives so that they can change how healthcare is delivered as a mass consumer-driven market. And so I work with a variety of stakeholders in this game and helping them with connecting and helping them with strategies. So I work with exchanges, I work with banks, I work with health plans, I work with brokers, I work with financial and healthcare institutions. I work with ACOs, for example. So I'm working wherever there's a need of people that are like-minded that want to change the world in a similar way.
Yep. Getting people into account-based plans is why you're also excited about exchanges, and exchanges being, I steal your term all the time, so I hope you, respect that, the catalyst for consumerism.
It's a penny royalty every time you use it, so I think I'm up to like 12 cents now.
Okay, there you go. So expand on that a little bit, John, and then Ernie.
Why are they?
That too.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just start, Ernie, and I think they're uniquely aligned in this respect, and that is why are exchanges the catalyst of consumerism? I think giving people money to spend on healthcare benefit choices is very similar to giving them an HRA in the in the benefits design space. Now they got upfront money, and they're going to determine how to parse it out, for healthcare expenses if it's an HRA, and if it's a defined contribution healthcare strategy. Now they're having to decide what to buy that's going to be personally, suited for them. And like Todd alluded to in the earlier segment, what we find are that the vast majority of people buy down. 2/3 of people actually self-select to reduce their take-home benefits and increase their take-home pay. So they say back to their employer, you've given me this defined contribution, I'm going to be more prudent about how I spend that money. I'm going to buy cheaper coverage because that's what I think my family could use or need. I am making that value decision. It's just like what they would do with an HRA, okay? And so then another part that's happening is since people are self-selecting down because they want to take more money home, is that they're buying HSA qualified plans in record numbers. Like Todd said, we did this white paper, and it's supersizing. It's a Mentos Diet Coke effect. It is there is something going on here that exchanges and defined contribution health care equals half the people electing an HSA. So that's why I'm excited about exchanges, because it's back to my passion and my purpose is getting people in these plans, because that's what's going to change healthcare.
Hey, Ernie, this question's to you. There's a lot of debate, out there in the space about private exchanges. What's kind of your vision? What's your take on the private exchange market, and really tie that into what you anticipate for 2015 around the private exchange space?
Yeah, it's an interesting conundrum because people like the word exchange, they like the word marketplace, but everybody's got a wildly different view of the world when it comes to those two terms. And then a lot of people will argue the contrarian position of, well, this is just a ben admin platform or an enrollment platform on steroids. And I think, after several years in the space and flying all over the country and forgetting what my wife looks like at this point, I've come to the conclusion that, the answer to all of those people is yes, you're all right. A private exchange is a marketplace and an enrollment platform that allows people, as John said, to self-select benefits that fit their needs. They all have, to one degree or another, the same thesis, right? They all have the ability to shop or select benefits. They all have some sort of decision support or filtering tools or educational content, et cetera. I think what we're seeing in the space is we're already starting to see consolidation. Really big guys are buying up really big guys, right? Most recent with Aetna and B-Swift. So some players are being consolidated and or taken off the market. On the bottom side of the market, a lot of folks are being gobbled up and consolidated. So what our friends at WageWorks continue to do in the SSA space, I predict will accelerate in the exchange enrollment space in 15 and 16. Private equity and venture money continues to pour into the space. The rise of new companies like Zenefits, different business models. I think 15 is going to be a pivotal turning point in our industry. Market definitions will begin to solidify. And then 16 is when I think we're really going to dig in and start to see some forward progress from a direction perspective. I don't know if folks remember or still subscribe to the old Gartner hype cycle, right? And for those of you that know that model, 12 and 13 were probably the trough of disillusionment, and we're getting ready to move into the plateau of productivity, and I think that's really exciting for all of us. But I'll close with a specific definition. We look, Brent, at exchanges as simply being a vehicle for employers and employees and brokers and product providers, be it medical or ancillary voluntary providers, to all interact in an effective and efficient manner for the express purpose of delivering value, and value is expressed in healthy, productive workers and at a reasonable and controllable cost curve.
Yep. Now, John, since you and Ernie really are long-lost brothers that were separated at birth, do you share that? Do you share that vision, or do you have a different vision?
Oh, I totally share Ernie's vision and excitement around what's coming, and I love the way he can turn a phrase, the plateau of productivity. That's lovely, my friend. It is not the Wild West. It's not the Wild, Wild West. It's the Wild, Wild, Wild West out there in exchange land. It's fitting that we should have this great forum in Dallas where, where it wasn't too long ago where people were able to shoot guns in the air and get all riled up, because this is a big change, and it's, I was so excited about HSAs. As you know, it was helpful in the development and the early day growth of HSAs, and it's just lovely to see them take on the prominent place that they have. And thanks to people like Todd Berkeley who are, in the fight to make sure that the stakeholders there, banks, do a stellar job in serving people in HSAs. I mean, it's still a dismal growth. I mean, it's like when Todd said it represents maybe 10% of accounts served according to like an AHIP survey.
Yep.
It's still rather dismal. It bothers me, and people ask me all the time, it's a great idea. Why isn't it adopted more? And well, I think because it's mostly account-based plans were an employer-led revolution. The difference with exchanges, and it's a significant difference, is that there are advisors that are absolutely all in with exchanges, and that's those solutions for their employer clients and prospects. And because they're embracing this, I think there's going to be a lot of growth. Even though right now it's that wild, wild, wild west component, there is market momentum. There's, Accenture says 40 million. Goldman Sachs 35. I think Oliver Wyman said something like 37. Todd and I, in our white paper last year, we were so bullish that we were like, this is going to be 75 million in private exchanges by 2020. And I have to tell you, I've got some concern about the sales cycle in this wild, wild, wild west. And I'll talk about that later, but I know I overclubbed. On the other end of the spectrum is Paul Fronston from the Employee Benefits Research Institute, who thinks it's going to grow more like the HSA market grew. And that doesn't matter. 40 million in a few years is, the idea that 1 out of 4 people getting benefits are going to get benefits off a private exchange platform. If anyone can make a projection on what's going to happen, but everyone with experience in this market knows that this is a big, important deal, and everyone's embracing it.
Well, John and Ernie, and I was talking about it earlier on the program. If you're listening, is that and I kind of sold Ernie some of your partner Jeff Yannicka's predictions, and ended it with saying there's. First of all, technology has finally found its place in this employee benefits. It's here, it's not going away, and there's too many smart people and in this play, in this market, for it not to succeed. And the final thing is, it just makes sense. So it might not grow as fast as some of us say that are overly optimistic, but I don't think it's going to grow as slow as the Paul Fronstein says either, because it just makes sense.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Doug. I mean, I was able to listen in a little bit earlier, and you're right. There's a ton of smart people in this space. As you mentioned, Jeff Yannicka, he's one of the smartest guys I know. He's part of our team now. And, we're looking for some really big things, and we look at this as a when, not an if, right? And even several years ago, I used to joke with folks, people would ask, well, back when we were still debating, will HRAs win, will HSAs win, will FSAs grow or shrink? And I used to say, hey, look, guys, I'm the kind of guy that's going to bet the field. I'm not betting on a particular horse. I'm betting on the fact that the race is going to take place, and that something's going to happen. Someone's going to win. It's too early. And even now, we're coming at this with sort of a broad stroke approach, not because we want to bet the field and have modest gains. We think that's what's required. Technology to solve for this is going to have to reach into every aspect of an individual's life, just like it does with other experiences, other consumer-driven experiences, like home electronics or personal items like clothing, et cetera.
Now, Ernie and John and Doug, I want to bring you into this as well. To our audience, Ernie and John are both the co-chairs of Private Exchange Forum in Dallas, and have really been leading the charge on the program that we're putting together. John, I'll kind of start with you. You've gone to a lot of the different private exchange events in the industry over the past couple of years. What are we doing different with our event in Dallas than what you've seen at other events you've gone to?
I think you do two things remarkably different and refreshing. One, the price point should be no barrier to people. There are conferences I want to go to, but running my own business and being now, very prudent about the money I spend, it's, $1,700 to go to a conference is redonkulous. It's just to attend. So your price point is phenomenal. I think you do a great job at getting the right people there and the right sponsors there to bring in the best content for folks. And the other thing that makes you super different is that you are bringing employers. And that's, those are the people that buy private exchanges. I don't know why they're not as well represented in every other exchange conference. Yours is employer-centered, and I applaud you for that.
Now, Ernie, you guys have a business model that brokers can latch onto, and you would like to work with brokers in instances. What do you see, across the broker marketplace, and how are we addressing it with the forum to bring these brokers in to really get them to understand the exchange models that are out there?
Well, I think, I completely agree with the points that John made. The fact that employers are showing up to the event and the fact that brokers are also showing up to the event. A lot of brokers come to a lot of events. But at the end of the day, I think the broker community has sort of self-divided into groups. And I always get in a little trouble with this piece of my shtick, but I'll never shy away from controversy. There's the guys that like to write a case and go play golf once a year with the guy that they just sold it to. Those guys are out of business, and they just don't know it yet. And what I really like about your show is you tend to attract the other group of brokers, which are the ones that are more consultative, the ones that are more engaged, the ones that are looking to, again, service the groups that they support. And service can take multiple forms. I've seen brokers at past forums in the under 50 market, a ton of guys in the mid market, and of course all the guys that you expect to see in the large market. They're all there, they're all interacting, and they can all learn something from each other in this new post-ACA world. So it's really exciting to be involved with the forum and co-chair with my long-lost brother.
Well, we appreciate you guys involved with us, and our goal, John and Ernie, is that we've all talked about, and why we stepped up to do Private Exchange Forum is not because we don't pay attention to that piece of the content at our other events, because we do, but we felt it was so important to devote 2 days to this discussion purely, to find contribution in private exchanges, and we're happy to be able to locate it in Dallas at a good time of the year too, March 31st, which is strategically well timed for employers and others to get there. Leave us, as we close this program, I want to give you guys each an opportunity to kind of leave the audience with a thought or two. John, you want to start?
Sure, I'll start. I'm feeling very strongly about a couple things. One is that this is a real revolution, but all the stakeholders kind of want it to be bloodless, and the fact is there's going to be blood. There is going to be people that lose and people that win. To Ernie's point, there's going to be some people that don't embrace this that are going to get out of business. And I would like to see us really wrestle with the issues and how is this going to impact how doctors and hospitals decide to deliver care, and what's shifting in the whole financial mechanism of compensating doctors and hospitals. And I would love to see a lot more discourse around brokers saying it's our client and health plans saying, no, it's always been our client. I want to see that kind of like mixed up a little bit. The most important thing I could say that right now that's burning on my heart is that I had found a way to present consumerism to a CFO in a very straightforward 10-minute presentation that basically made them go, oh, well, yeah, this makes sense. Let's do it. And I think something like that needs to be done for the employer. There's just a cacophony out there of here's what an exchange is. Here's how ours works. This is how ours works. It's a little different, and it's all information gathering, but it doesn't go to the heart of things or to the right executive. And I want to see our industry really drive better sales and results because of by creating more financial pieces delivered to the C-suite.
That's well said, Ernie.
Yeah, I agree with John on the discourse and the debate. You know, as you were talking, John, I was thinking to myself, if I'm a small business owner, or I'm a mid-sized business owner, or I'm a Fortune 50 CFO, right? Who am I a customer of, right? Who services me in this space? And I think it gets a lot clearer the further up the chain you get, right?
Yes.
The CFO of Ford Motor Company knows exactly who his benefit consultant is. But not very far beneath that, there are probably 3 or 4 people that feel that that is their client. And I can tell you, having been in that space, those employers, having interacted with them for years directly, they're feeling lost in the middle of a bunch of guys who are treating them like they're their client in attitude, but not in service. And I hate to keep saying service, but I really feel just as passionate as you do, John, about consumerism. I feel just as passionate about service. We've, as an industry, as a society, right, in the post-World War II era, we as consumers, we valued service and we paid for service. And then as the 70s and 80s rolled through, the pendulum swung to the other side, and everybody just wanted to pay for the cheapest possible thing, and service fell by the wayside. And I think we're seeing a resurgence of that in this space, and I think that, more than anything, is going to take the field at the end of the day. And, you know, the folks that can speak to that can demonstrate service, that can hold their heads high when something goes awry and stand in the fire with their client, with their partner employer, they're going to be the ones that take the field. So I'm looking forward to mixing it up in Dallas. Looking forward to running in with all my old friends, you and Brent and Dusty and the rest of the guys, and making some new acquaintances while we're there.
I think we can promise that it's going to be a great conference. A lot of connections with a lot of good folks, lots of employers, great content, the right people on the stage talking about what they think and what they see. So I'm excited to be working with you, Ernie, and Doug, and Brent on this whole project that's happening down in Dallas, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, guys. John and Ernie, thank you so much for taking the time today and for the work that you're doing with us on Private Exchange Forum. And to our audience out there, if you want to join us in Dallas, go to privateexchangeforum.com. And, again, it's March 31st through April 1st. Ernie, John, have a great weekend. I will see you next Wednesday night in Phoenix. I look forward to it.
Looking forward to that as well. Take care.
All right, guys. Take care.
Bye, guys.